I'm Jennifer Arkhurst. I am a British expat as well in the UAE. I've been here for the last 10 years. I was recruited by the Emirates National Oil Company. You probably see petrol stations everywhere to come and work in the legal department. And about 7 years ago, I started a business, and that's when I met Sasha. He inspired a lot of confidence in us because most of us had come from the corporate world. We did not know how to market ourselves or how to market our business. So it's great. It was great to meet him and his wife. I chose to come to this event because when I was in the corporate world, I used to do a lot of presentations to the business departments. But since I've been in business, I haven't done any presentations whatsoever. And I've also noticed that when I go to conferences and I would like to ask a question, I start off by being very confident, and as soon as I realize that everybody's attention is focused on me, the nerves come in and I can detect it in my voice. You know, it just got, you know, it fluctuates. So that's why I'm here. I came out of the corporate world about 7 years ago to start a business. I have my own practice, mainly focusing on corporate commercial, helping small business owners. Initially, that's what I started doing, but you know, since the economic crisis in the country at the moment, I'm slightly coming out of that sector because they have no money to pay legal fees. So I'm looking for more high net worth individuals and companies to work for. So that is my story, and that's why I'm here, and thanks for listening.
Thank you.
Who has been the most influential person in my life? I'll say that has got to be my dad. And I realize it more now because I don't have my parents with me. But I'll say both my mom and my dad. When I was little,
There we go. Thank you.
my father used to get all of us around in his bed, and we'd be jumping up and down on his bed, and then he would start to quiz us. So what do you want to become when you...
Eye contact.
What do you want to become when you grow up? The first thing I said was, well, I want to be an air hostess, fly on a plane. My dad said, no, think again. So I said, okay, maybe I'll be a lawyer, go to the court and representing people and so on. He goes, good. So my father pushed me and pushed me and pushed me while I was at university. You can imagine, he used to ring every week, wanting to know when I'm attending my lectures. He would monitor my reports, how I'm doing and so on. He pushed me to the limit. I got fed up. What made matters worse? My father sent me in England to a private university. It was in the middle of nowhere. You know, in the countryside, you couldn't go anywhere but to study. There was no nightclub. You know, I was young then, there's no nightclub. You have to travel miles away to go party. So I toiled and toiled and toiled, and that's what made me who I am today, a lawyer. Now, he was also influential because when I was younger as well, but this time qualified as a junior lawyer, I was just really going partying and enjoying myself. He said, Jennifer, all of your siblings have their own house, your own property. What are you doing? You've got a good job. Why don't you put a deposit together and try and, you know...
Why do you put a deposit?
Why don't you try and put some money together and buy your own flat? Now, all this time, unfortunately, I did not realize that my dad had terminal cancer. And he was trying to make sure that all the kids are okay when he goes. He had terminal cancer, he didn't tell anybody, not even my mom. So close to the time when he was ready to pass away, that is when I bought my first flat. But unfortunately, he was in a hospice and he couldn't come to see the place. But I took photographs so that he could see. After he died, this comfort zone that I had of having my dad around whenever I'm broke, I can go to him, had completely removed. So that is when I got into this business of property investment. So all the inheritance monies that my parents left me, guess what? I put them in property because that was the comfort zone for me. If something happened and I needed some money, I'll just go and liquidate and I'll have the money in the bank. So my father has molded me to who I am today, and I'm very grateful for it. And you know, we all don't realize what it's like. You know, when we have our parents around, we tend to take it for granted. But I think when you lose them, it's quite a shock to the system. But that is when you realize the value of what they instilled in you from the time you were young. And it molds you to be who you are today. And hopefully it keeps you going until you also pass away. And you can pass it on to your kids as well.
If you have to sum it all up, what you just said, what would that one sentence be of what your father has taught you?
Achieve
Achieve.
and be the best that you can.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
My topic is what human quality do we need more of and why? Does anybody know?
Thank you.
Does anybody know why we're having there's so much friction in the world today? The bottom line is lack of tolerance. Well, it's tolerance of people's political decision making, or the way they do things, or religion, for example. There's so much of friction in the world, and it's been going on from time immemorial, based on religion. I mean, who is to say your religion is better than the other religion? Take Islam, for example. I converted to Islam. I used to be a Christian, but I converted to Islam, but I don't believe in some of the things that they do, like ISIS. Oh, well, I don't like you, you're Christian, so go. What right do you have to take somebody's life because you think they worship something different from you? Tolerance. Why do we have so many wars? Because it's this concept of dominating other people. Take, for example, England. In those days, many years ago, they were the British Empire, conquering almost so many countries, including the UAE. The UAE was under the British. They were the last to leave. Why? Britain is a small country. Small. But they wanted to dominate everybody. Why? Because they thought they're superior. We're the British. You got to do things the way we do. I have come across some Indians in Dubai. The minute they speak, I get so shocked. They're speaking Queen's language. I thought, wait a minute. I said, have you ever lived in England? No, I went to a British school in India. I thought, wow, you speak British English. It's all because of this lack of tolerance. You know, people feel they're better than other people, so they got to dominate them, or people feel they've got a better religion, so they got to eliminate a particular type of religion. Lack of tolerance. That's why we have so many problems in the world. Another quality that I feel we need to have is to be a lot more humble as human beings. In fact, in some religions, you're taught that every single thing you have today, whether you're driving a Jaguar, you got a great business, you got a great wife, a great spouse, it comes from God Almighty. He can take it in any minute. So we all got to be humble, regardless of where we are in life, whether we've got a lot of money, whether we are average, whether we're poor. Because really in this world, we all cannot be the same. You know, imagine if we're all driving Rolls Royces. Who is going to clean this room, for example, when we leave? Nobody's going to do it, right? So we got to learn to be humble. And you know, I keep reading the last statement or message to the world that Steve Jobs gave. And you know, it's just so sad. Because when he was lying in his hospital bed, he said, look, it wasn't about the fame, because he had achieved that. Everybody knew who he was in the world. It wasn't about the money, he had lots of it. But when he lay in that bed, looking at the monitors and his life taken away, what really mattered to him was family, friends, and that connectivity. So we need to be humble, we need to appreciate each other, we need to be tolerant of each other, and help this place become a much better world.
Thank you.